Good evening, everybody. It's Andy from Snowcaps Europe here in Kaprun, Austria, with another Sunday ski cast. So this evening, I am going to be joined by Mike from DataWax, who will be along very shortly. But in the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember you can ask Mike questions in the comments below, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Please, as always, feel free to host a watch party. If you're watching on Facebook, there should be a button just below the stream. And also, don't forget to hit the like button and maybe share with your friends. If you are watching over on YouTube, you can also comment. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get to see everything else that we post in the coming days and weeks. If you haven't already visited our Facebook page, then we do update it pretty much daily, and we are still skiing here in Kaprun. So make sure to go over to the Facebook page, hit the like button or the follow. So I'm going to bring Mike in and we will get started. Good evening, Mike.
How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Right.
I think we've already got some comments coming in. Yeah, Kevin is back, is saying hello. Hello, Kevin. So, Mike, before we get started, do you want to give us a little bit of background on yourself and then also on DataWax?
Cool. Yeah, my name is Mike Crawford. I am the kind of owner, runner of DataWax. I also work as a ski instructor in Meribel in the French Alps. I work as a BASI trainer as well. So pretty involved in the ski industry. And it's kind of from doing that and training and ski racing and stuff like that as a kid. And that's where we bought it. And then we bought DataWax about 8 years ago now from another family who were in Aberdeen. And we've brought it down to Glasgow. So we now have 2 members of staff and me, and it's actually my dad that run the DataWax business together. And yeah, it's busy. We supply a lot of most of our trade is to retail shops. So we actually supply, your local ski shops, and that's the big bit of our business, is packing up massive orders and send them off and supplying the local ski shops all over the UK, a little bit in Europe. Trying to break into Canada and US, but yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Cool. And obviously you've got an internet presence as well.
Yeah, so we sell on our website, but what we want to really be about is education and try to teach people how to service their skis. So on our website we try to promote people, just it's not scary, get online, watch a couple of videos and actually have a go and do it yourself, look after your own gear, because kit that's looked after will last a lot longer. So
yeah, for sure.
That's part of what we do. So
okay, cool, good stuff. So there you go, folks. We are going to get straight into the questions then, Mike.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, and it's kind of an obvious one considering we're talking about waxing and servicing the skis. It's basically, why do I need to wax my skis?
So the big answer is to make the skis run better. Skis that are waxed well or waxed at all will run a lot smoother, which makes skiing a lot easier, a lot less tiring. It's not actually so much about speed, it's more about what we call glide. So the ski runs better. So it's not about just the fact that if you wax your skis, you'll go really, really fast. It's actually that at the end of the day, you won't be absolutely shattered. If you imagine skiing when there's drag on the base all day, it takes that effort for the ski to move, whereas when it's nice and waxed, ski slides a lot easier. It makes your day a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, we had exactly this yesterday. We were skiing. It had snowed on Friday early, and then it had all afternoon and evening, and then early morning yesterday to literally start melting. And it was super heavy all over the mountain. But literally, the minute we got to about 2,200 meters, there was 4 of us. We were all flying down. Then all of a sudden, we just stopped. We just slowed right down. And my quads, by the time I got to the bottom, they were shot. They were done.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
So almost everybody will have had that, especially like spring, summer skiing. Like, you know, kind of, if you ski at Easter, you'll definitely have that where the snow's nice in the morning, then you're skiing home at the end of the day, and there'll just be almost you come around one corner and there'll just be a point where the snow changes. And it does feel like you've just skied into a wall. You just shoot off the front of your skis and your skis stop, and then you have to really force the ski to slide.
It was good. It was painful. Let's just say that. Okay, cool. So there you go, folks. That's why you need to wax your skis. Now, Zach has sent us in a question. I don't know where you are, Zach, and also Jay, and they're two questions almost combined. So what Zach's asking is, he's been told that when he buys a new pair of skis, he needs to wax them several times before using them. And then Jay has basically asked, do I need to wax new skis?
You don't need to. This is something that it is a good practice to do, but it's definitely not something that I would say everybody needs. If you look at a ski racer, the first thing they'll do is they'll spend a lot of time setting up their brand new skis. The way that skis are manufactured, there is a small coating of wax put on the ski when they leave the factory, but it doesn't have what we call base penetration, so it doesn't actually sink into the base, so it doesn't last very long. When you buy new skis, or you get your hands on new skis, or wherever you get them from, it's a good idea to what we call load the base. And what you're doing basically is filling the base with wax. And by putting more wax into the base, it means that the wax will last longer. If you imagine just spraying it over the top, as soon as you start skiing, that wax is gone. So if you can get it sunk into the base, it'll last a lot longer. A high-level ski racer, they might wax a brand new pair of skis, wax and scrape up to 10, 12 times before they even ski on them. Okay. And the first time they ski on them, they'll bring them back and they'll do it again. And that's the process of making skis fast. The more time you spend waxing them, the faster skis become. But for recreational skiers, that's not that practical to turn around and you're going to give your skis 20 coats of wax every so often. So it's a tricky balance. You don't need to do it, but it's definitely something that you'll feel the benefit of.
Yeah. Okay. And Zach, I would suggest you definitely don't want to go into a shop and say, "Can you wax my skis for me 10 times?" because it'll cost you a fortune. But if you've got your own kit, then there is going to be a benefit, as Mike says. Yeah. Good stuff. There you go, Mike. Zach and Jay. Hopefully that has answered your question. I'm pretty sure we have. So Martin is asking, is there a difference between ski and snowboard wax? And if so, what is it?
Chemically, no, there is no difference between ski and snowboard waxes. The big difference is actually smell. So a lot of snowboard brands snowboard wax brands spend quite a lot of time and effort putting scent into their wax, which is a really funny thing because when you see someone pick up a block of wax, the first thing they'll do is smell it. And it's such a strange thing because we don't scent our waxes, or we don't scent our main range of waxes. But it is funny watching everybody, like the first thing they do is they smell the box. There's no chemical difference or performance difference between a ski and a snowboard wax. Yeah. It also doesn't make your base smell good. It just makes the wax room smell good while you're doing it. So we don't do a lot of scented waxes. We have done them in the past. We used to supply a lot of skate wax to a couple of shops down south in the north of England. But we don't do a lot of scents. It's capable, but we're not.
I didn't know this, everybody, until about 10 minutes ago. We had a quick run through of the questions, and I just find it so funny that snowboard wax is scented. Unreal. Brilliant. So there you go, Martin. Thanks for asking that question because it has entertained me no end. Now, we've got a couple of questions that have come in the comments. I'm going to bring the first one up from Tayton. Tayton is a ski teacher. There he is in his uniform. Hi, guys. As a ski instructor, how often should I wax and edge my skis? Currently doing wax once every 1.5 weeks and edges once a month.
It's a hard one to say. totally depends on what you're doing and the conditions you're in. I would say it's a reactive thing. When you see your skis starting to need the wax, then I would say waxing. The way that you can tell is if you get a brand new pair of skis, they'll be with a normal ski base, they'll be black on the base, and it will be quite a sheen black color. And if you pick up an old pair of skis that haven't been serviced, you'll find that there's a slightly grey tint to it. That's the clue that they need waxed. So the things that make wax come out the base more often is if the snow's really abrasive, if it's really cold, things like that. So therefore, if you need to wax more often. If you don't need to wax, you might go like spring skiing powder all day long. You might not need to wax for a couple of weeks, but I would say just keep an eye on your kit and try and wax reactively as and when you need it, rather than setting a timetable.
Okay, cool.
Personally, I'm a bit of a geek, so therefore I wax my skis fairly often, but that's because it's my therapy rather than anything else.
How often is fairly often?
Every other night. Not far off.
So the skis I was skiing on yesterday, I got them mid-February. They've still not been waxed. They've still not been waxed. But we did have lockdown, so it's not that bad. Yeah, but I didn't preload the base, and they've not been waxed. They do desperately need a wax because the base is not looking a very nice black colour. Okay, Tatum, there you go, mate. That is your answer. We got a couple of other comments. So we saw earlier Crazy Daisies over in Zellamzee watching us. Quiz time with Johnny Tash. Everybody should go and check that out. He does a very good live quiz on a Wednesday night. And Kevin is asking, question from Kevin Hammond. There we go. Hi. Hello, Kevin. Is waxing and servicing better done by hand or than done by the shop machine? Okay.
That's a tricky one. There's skill levels in both, right? If you get a master hand service, then it'll be done brilliantly. And if you get a really good guy in the shop, then it'll be done great as well. But there's examples of both where people have got it wrong at home in the garage and people have got it wrong at home, wrong in the shops. Generally, going through the machines now, the machines that most ski shops that we see around Europe are absolutely spectacular. So the days of bad servicing from the machines is kind of gone. The thing that they will always do is give you a really nice finish. They'll always do your edges really well. And with most shops, you can actually request what edge angle you want to have, which is really cool. The thing that they won't give you, which a home service will do, is better wax penetration. So you'll get more wax in the ski if you do a home service. When you do it on the machines, it's more of a kind of liquid wax or a heat brush wax. So the wax doesn't last as long as doing a hot wax that you would do at home yourself. So there's benefits to both. But I would say I still use the machines in the shops when I need a service or I don't have my gear with me, but there's no reason not to. It's just kind of what's available for you.
Okay, there you go, Kevin. Hopefully that helps you. Back to our other questions. Keith Webb is asking, for a recreational skier who skis maybe 1 or 2 weeks a year, what should they be packing in terms of wax? I think he means to take on their holiday. If you have a budget, of course, you can take them into the shop every night and get them waxed. But will a rub-on wax last all day if you're on a budget?
There's different ways. I mean, I would say that for most folk, you could fit a small travel iron in the bottom of the bag and a block of wax, and all you literally need is a small iron, a wax, and a scraper. And middle of the week, if you can give your skis a wax on the Wednesday night, then that would do you all week. That would be the best option. But there are lots of instant wax options. The rub-on waxes are generally a little bit shorter term. So the rub-on waxes would give you a little speed boost. If you know, like your story of coming down Caproon yesterday, when you hit that sticky stuff, having a rub-on wax might have made the difference and made that easier for you. But
yeah,
generally rub-on waxes are a little bit shorter term. If you can use a liquid wax, and all the brands generally make a liquid wax, we do ours in a wet wipe format, and you literally just have a small box of wet wipes. We call them fast wipes, and it's literally just a liquid wax in a wet wipe, and each wipe will do a couple of pairs of kids skis or a pair of adult skis, and that will keep you going all day, if not a couple of days for most people. So that I would say liquid waxes are better than rub-ons, but if you can pack that wee travel iron in the bottom of the ski bag, then that's even better.
Okay, there you go, Keith. I think that answers that. You sent us another question as well, which was Keith does some masters racing, and he wants to know, what does he say? Can you advise me what would be what would be your advice regarding base angle and edge angle for different disciplines? So you mean a base bevel angle and edge angle for slalom versus GS, I think, is what he's after.
Okay, so we've got a graphic for this one, Andy. If you've got that cartoon I sent you.
Yeah, 1 second. I will find the graphic. Oh, this one.
That's the one. So on any set of skis or snowboard, you'll see that there are two edges. The light green one is what we call base bevel, and the dark green one is the side edge angle. The sharper you make your edges, the easier it is for those skis to cut into the snow and to grip and kind of higher performance. The problem with that is the sharper they are, the quicker they are to go blunt. So all skis come out the factory with some angle on both of those angles. As the final step of the ski manufacturer, they run them across a grinder and they'll tune the ski. All brands do that. What the best angle is for you is really tricky, and lots of ski racers have different angles that they prefer. They do it in different phases of the ski, on speed skis, on Super G and downhill. It's not an easy answer for me to say, oh, set them at 87 or whatever. It's not as simple as that. What I can do is explain why you would adjust them differently. So the base bevel basically peels the edges of the ski up, the sides of the ski up, and that makes the edge less what we call grabby, which makes it easier for the ski to rotate. So if you're a lower level skier, more base bevel would make rotating the ski easier, which makes it easier to wash off speed. The downside to base bevel is because you're obviously taking edge away from the base, you can't undo it as easily as changing your side angle. So you don't want to mess with your base bevel edge very often, because the only way to undo that is to go and get a stone grind and to actually take that out. So that's the trick with base bevel. It's basically to make the ski easier to rotate, which gives you more control. And the side edge is the one that gives you the cutting edge, which makes it easier for you to kind of grip on the snow. Generally, that dark green angle, generally skis start at around 90 degrees, and then your World Cup ski racers would be at 86 or 87, which is pretty sharp, and that that's sharp edges. Personally, for me, I set my skis with a 0 bevel, but I set mine at 88 degrees. So my skis are flat on the base, but have 88 degrees, and that lasts for how I ski. That suits me perfectly.
Okay, good stuff. Cool. There you go, Keith. And we have got a continuation to that. But also, Keith, if you go on to Snow Camps Europe blog, we've actually got some examples of edge angles and base bevels for different disciplines, which you might want to use as a guide. But yeah, they are on there. And then the continuation of that is also, and you just touched on this slightly, about grinding the base to get rid of the base bevel angle. But what Keith is asking is, he's heard that speed skis, so giant slalom, super G and downhill, should never have their bases grinded unless they have been damaged.
Correct. So you spent all that time making those skis run fast by loading them with wax and all that kind of base loading we talked about at the beginning. If you then do a base grind, you take the top layer of base off, you also remove the wax that makes it fast. So you'd be back to the beginning like you've got a brand new pair of skis. So for a race ski, that's obviously a disaster because you've basically made your skis slow. So therefore, if you can avoid base grinding on race skis, that's the trick.
Okay, cool. Don't forget, folks, you can ask questions live in the comments and we will bring them in. I'm going to bring one of those in a second. And also, we got 31 people watching and we've only got 17 likes. That doesn't add up to me. Hit the like button, people. We should have at least 32. Okay, another question, and it's Tim. Tim is a regular on a ski cast. Tim is used to be a ski teacher in Kitzbühel. Hi guys, at what point does DataWax make a difference? Is it worth it for anyone other than racers?
High fluoro wax makes a difference. It's, I mean, really, really good wax makes a massive difference. Some waxes are unbelievably fast in the right conditions. So if you fancy a bit of a giggle one day, high fluoro your skis and you'll know about it. But for general everyday, there's no need. Most waxes now in the sort of performance ranges, without going that far, 99% of people don't need it. There's nobody I know that waxes their skis with high fluoro just for giggles. It's just not something that in particular. So
okay. It's probably one of them things to be, yeah. Oh, I've high fluoroed my skis whilst in the gondola kind of conversation, isn't it? Okay, cool. So Carl, also a regular on the Sunday Ski Cast, is asking. I use, so he's actually using a DataWax product. He's using black graphite race wax.
Yeah.
Can you tell me if it's good for all mountain skiing?
Yes, it's really good for all mountain skiing. It's actually one of my favorites. I use the graphite waxes quite a lot. The reason for graphite being added to the wax is it repels dirty snow. So when you have when the snow melts from the sunshine, it sometimes leaves like a dust layer on the top, and those dust layers can actually charge with static electricity weirdly, and the graphite repels the static and makes the ski run faster. So in certain circumstances, graphite wax is really, really quick, and sometimes it's not as quick. So I would definitely say the graphite one's a bit more specialist. It's one that we obviously designed for use in indoor snow domes and places that there are definitely going to be dusty conditions. But it still works. It's great on the mountain, but it's a bit more specialist, I'd say.
Okay, cool, good. There you go, Carl. I'm going to bring in another one, and this is from Adina, and she's asking, hey guys, which is the best method to apply wax to your skis or board? Drip melting or melt onto the iron, then rub the base? I've been told both ways by GB team and ski instructors.
Okay. So two different ways to apply the wax to the ski. This is both a hot wax, a way to do hot waxing. That would be drip waxing, and that's the most kind of common way for folk. You touch the wax against the heat plate of the iron and it dribbles a little bit down, and then once you've put a layer of wax in kind of drips down the base, you run the iron along the ski and that spreads the wax across the base. That's the most common one. I'd say it's probably the best. The other way that she mentions is a little bit more specialist, because that's actually how we would use high fluoro waxes. So you basically touch the wax against the heat plate and then rub slightly heated wax down the ski, and it means a slightly thinner layer. So if you're using really expensive wax,
yeah,
you don't have
you're not going to be dripping all along the ski. Yeah,
you don't have any dripping off the sides. So I think to answer that question, it depends what wax you're using. If you're doing something like base loading, then drip it on because you want it to go on thick. But if you're using high fluoro, you're probably doing the touch the iron, rub the wax. So
There you go, Adina. Hopefully that helps. Right, I've got to turn Adina's one off before I can bring in the next one because we've got some more coming in. So we'll hide that one. We'll just scroll down. Tim is saying cheers for our answer. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for watching.
Got it.
And Carl is also saying cheers. Cheers, Carl. And Richard, do you need to get your skis board serviced when returning from holiday, or can you leave it till just before going away the following season?
I would definitely recommend doing it when you get back, because if everybody does it right before they go away on holiday, then your local ski shop will be absolutely swamped and they might not be able to fit you in. So if you come back from your holiday, you can fit it in, get it serviced like this time of year, then they go away in the garage. The other thing that's good about doing it over the summer is that the skis can't get dusty, or you don't get any kind of muck or dust or kind of mankiness into the base. So if you put on what we call a travel wax, a nice thick layer of wax, then before you go away on your holiday, you scrape that wax off. Your base is then clean and ready to ski. I would go for when you get home, and then they're ready, and you don't have to stress the night before your holiday when you realize you didn't bother sending them to the local ski shop.
Yeah,
that would be my recommendation. But
yeah, I would go with that. Adina is saying thank you so much. Yeah, definitely go with what Mike has said there, to get them done when you get back. You don't want to be taking a minute before your holiday. The shop's already busy, and therefore they're going to potentially do a rush job. I'm not saying they would, but potentially they would. Okay, so we have had
this season. There was a couple of ski shops down south. They were at 3 weeks. In the UK, they were at 3 weeks turnaround, just because it was busy. It was a busy time. You know, ski shops, especially, you know, they've got a lot of people doing that. So if you can take the pressure off the ski shop, then they give better services, and they actually spend time doing everything right. And lots of ski shops in the UK, they have really, really good service, guys. If you can do it in the spring, then that makes everything a little easier, and you're not in a panic 3 weeks before your holiday going, are my skis going to get back in time? So yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Okay, cool. Another question. This is from Nikki. We are a family of 4, all with our own skis. Should we have our own waxing kit and be waxing them every year before we go away? Short
answer is yes. I mean, ski waxing in particular is really easy. Me and my little brother were little race kids, and my dad had us servicing skis from the age of about 10 with the supervision and stuff. But we started servicing our own skis really young. It's something that the kids can get involved with. It teaches them how to look after their gear, and I'm not saying it's a life skill, but it's one of those things they'll always be able to do. Mm-hmm. Servicing equipment is very modular. If you buy an iron and a scraper and a block of wax right now, that's all you need to get started. And once you've done a little bit more and you've got a bit more experience, you've learned a bit more, you can buy other bits. You don't need to go out and spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds getting everything. But just a simple iron and a block of wax, you guys will be able to enjoy holidays a little bit more, make life a little easier for the kids, especially kids skiing. A lot of rental kits, a lot of rental centres, in my personal opinion as a ski instructor, don't spend enough time looking after kids' skis. So the number of times that I've had instant wax in my pocket just so I can make the kids' lives easier when I'm teaching, because the rental shops pay more attention to the adult premium skis than they do to the kids' skis. And if you've got kids that's just sticking on the snow, they're not having a good time. They get tired a lot quicker. If you can make that easier for them, then I definitely recommend it.
There you go, Nikki. You got to get some kit, and then you've got to wax the kids' skis. All right, Nikki. Both of their kids are young adults. I'm sure they'll be happy to let their mum wax their skis.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, Carl's come back with another question in the live feed. What is your best wax on the market, and what's your best edging tool?
That's not I can't answer that, because the wax question is how to select your wax. There are so many different waxes because there's so many different conditions. We make waxes for, well, the top row there you'll see is the All Mountain. We make waxes as the green ones are the universals, and then we make different temperature specific waxes, and then we do 2 for the dirty snow that we talked about with graphite earlier. We make 5 different backcountry waxes. There's 2 dry slope waxes, as well as 2 indoor snow dome waxes, and we make a race range. So it really does depend on what you're doing. All brands in the world will have a universal wax, and that's covers all sins. When you're getting started, that's what you need. But if you know what conditions you're going to be under, by using a temperature specific wax, you'll get better performance from the wax. So that's why that graphic Andy just showed was the different colors. So if the snow's really, really cold, then you would use cobalt. If it's a little bit warmer, and you kind of go through that scale of what you're looking for. So, and obviously it's possible to blend waxes as well if you're not sure about the conditions, but it's not an easy question to say what's the best wax. I'm a geek. I've got my favorites, but that's just me. The thing that's different is it does depend on what conditions you're going for. So that's a tricky one. I can't really answer the best one.
An edging tool, the best edging tool, because we have got images of 6 edging tools, so they must have differences.
Yeah, there's so different edging tools. If you those 3, for example, the blue one on the DataWax one on the end called a Get-A-Grip is a molded plastic one, slides in a file, and it's really, really simple to use. It gives you 2 angle choices of 90 degrees or 88, and that's a really good edge tool to get you started. Really easy to use. You kind of can't go wrong. And as you go along, we named all our stuff in sort of beginner, intermediate, advanced this year on all our kit. The intermediate ones are a little bit more technical, so they have more edge choices, so you can choose different angles. Those 2, I think, have 6 different degree angles, so you can have 90 all the way down to 85 off the top of my head. So it gives you a bit more flexibility and a bit more choice. And you can also use different files, whereas with the Get-A-Grip, you've only got the choice of that one file or a diamond stone, but you can use different files in those other guides.
And these ones?
So the little yellow one is a Bird Doctor. It's just a tiny diamond stone that is pocket sized. It's very, very small, and it's great for sticking in your pocket. So if you do hit a rock middle of the day and you feel your skis dragging, it's a really easy way to just set the dial, set the angle to what your skis are set at with that little black dial, and take the edge off, take the burr off, and that just gets your edges looking fresh. It's a really easy way for a little holiday service as well.
Cool.
The last 2 are a bit different. So all the rest of them have, or those 3 intermediate ones have adjustable edge angles. You can choose what angle to set it at. The last 2 don't have that. They are set angles. So you'll see on the Ski Man one, it says 88 degrees. So that means it only does one angle, and you would need to attach a file. And you can use all the different files you want to use on that, but it's you'd need, if you were doing the kids' skis differently to your skis, you would need the different angles. So they're a little bit more technical to use, but they do create a really, really solid edge. We call them the World Cup guides because that's classically what you would see your World Cup techs using.
Yep, cool.
They're not machines, but
there you go, Carl. So yeah, the wax question, no real answer. It's kind of, yeah. And then we've just seen 6 different edging tools, and I learned a few things there with them that I didn't know, so that was good.
I think the thing about the edging tool is it's definitely what skill level you're at and whether or not you're, how technical you want to be. The multi tools are less accurate, but they do answer. They will be able to give you more angles. So
cool,
yeah.
Cool. Nikki's saying thank you.
Right.
Also, we just talked about the temperatures, didn't we? Then with Carl, yeah, the wax temperatures, Carl. You can also go, if you go to my other website, not the Snow Camps Europe one, if you go to andyrose.ski, go into the shop section, go into the DataWax section, you'll find a downloadable waxing guide. feel free to go and take that. It is there to be used. Okay, we've had a fair few more questions come in, so let's get to these ones.
Yeah, let's do that one.
I tend to wax and service my own skis to a minor extent. I use plastic scraper, but I've heard of people using metal scrapers. What are your thoughts? Andy from Essex. Hello, Andy.
No, absolutely not. When you wax and scrape, you want to use a plastic scraper. The wax that matters is the wax that's in the base. So you use a plastic scraper and you take the excess wax off. The metal scraper will touch the edges. So all that time you spent setting up your edges, it'll potentially do a bit of damage if it's not level when you do that. The plastic scraper is just a little bit more flexible. You always get a nicer finish with a plastic scraper. Metal scrapers are generally used for base repairs. So when you're using PTEX and you're dripping the hot plastic back in, our metal scrapers are actually sharpened so that they cut through the PTEX that's once it's set on the base. So with waxing, it's always a plastic scraper. With PTEXing, it's a metal scraper.
Cool. Now, plastic scraper.
Yeah.
Do they go blunt?
Yes.
So do I have to buy a new scraper?
You can sharpen them. So plastic scrapers are designed to be sharpened. When they're manufactured, they're cut by laser, and then you can sharpen them. There's a couple of different ways. You can buy a scraper sharpener. Someone's just jumped in with. They've got a scraper sharpener. The other way to do it is with sandpaper, and just a sheet of really rough sandpaper. And if you do figure of eights with the scraper over some rough sandpaper, that will give you a nice sharp edge. But I would definitely say a scraper sharpener is once you're into your servicing is a good thing to have. But doing it with a sharp scraper is just so much easier. So a couple of scrapers, make sure you've got one that's sharp before you start servicing, and that'll make your life a lot easier.
Becky says it's the best investment.
Yeah.
There you go, Becky. Well done. Thanks for that, Becky. Andrew from Essex, hopefully that answered your question. I think we did answer your question. Now, I just seen a question, I think, relating to dry slopes.
Yeah, there's a couple
and I've got a dry slope question on here, but I can't find it. But I can remember what it said.
Is the one.
Who was it that was asking it?
Evan Hammond, just like above Toby.
Yeah, no, but I've got one on the sheet as well that came in. So the first one, the dry slope related question was, is there a specific wax for dry slopes? And the person actually said, because back in the old days, we used to use fairy liquid, which I can confirm is a fact. We did. We also used to use Mr. Sheen and Pledge and big buckets of kind of silicone-y stuff. So are there waxes for the dry slope?
Yeah, so there's different waxes for dry slope, but weirdly, the waxes for dry slopes are completely different science. Basically, the dry slope plastic is really abrasive, so it builds up heat. And what you want to do with the dry slope wax is protect your bases from melting, because obviously you want the skis to last as well as having them being fast. So dry slope waxes are unbelievably hard. They're really, really solid, and that is just to protect the base. And then we also make a series of coatings to replace your fairy liquid. Your machines. We used to use WD-40 at our dry slope.
Also, yeah.
Which now, cannot be good for a ski, setting WD-40 up down the base. But basically what you want is something that reacts with, if it's got a sprinkler system, you want something that reacts with the water and will make the ski glide faster. And then if this dry slope's long enough that it builds up heat on the base, you want something to protect the base from building up that heat. So from DataWax, it would be Polar X or Polar GX, which are the dry slope hard waxes. And then our Hydrosorb range is all our what we call soft waxes for dry slope. And it is literally to protect your skis.
I remember two things. There was, I used to use silver, Toco silver spring wax, and then lashings of fairy liquid. And when we got into the Pledge and Mr. Sheen, I used to go into the cleaning cupboard at home on a Sunday before going to ski club, take the Pledge, obviously use it all. My mum would go to do the dusting on a Tuesday. Where's the Mr. Sheen gone? So yeah, he used to get a bit of a telling off. So Kevin's question, also related to dry slopes. Is there any point doing edges for the dry ski slope? I use my old skis when on a dry slope, and I'm thinking if I should do them or not.
Yeah, definitely. A sharp edge will give you more grip. It doesn't matter which surface, if it's Dendex or Snowflex. A sharp edge will give you a nice platform to stand on. So if you can sharpen your edges and put a little bit, I mean, it doesn't need to be razor sharp, but something around the 88 and set them up for, that'll make skiing on the dry slope a lot easier. So yeah, I'd definitely say do your edges and then wax with something dry slope specific.
There you go, Kevin. Thanks for your question. One from Toby. Hello, Toby. What is exactly the basic wax for warm, soft snow compared to wax for colder, fresh snow? What's the difference between the two?
Hardness is the answer. So the difference between cold snow wax and warm snow wax is how hard the wax is. So cold snow wax is more resistant to sharp snow crystals, and warm snow wax is softer, so it creates a nice film so that the ski glides better. So if you're ever not sure what the snow conditions are going to be like, wax colder than the conditions. So never wax too warm, because if you put really, really soft wax on and the snow's colder, you'll find that they stick. Whereas if you put cold wax on warm snow, you'll be fine. So always wax colder. If you're not sure, wax colder.
There we go. Top tip. There you go, Toby. Hopefully you're happy with that one. We got another one here. Oh, we got loads of them. Fantastic. Brilliant. 31 views, 29 likes. That's more like it, people. Harriet, I have the blue beginner one. Is there a video somewhere that shows me how to use it? I think she's referring to the edging tool.
Yeah. We've got new videos. They're currently being edited, and there will be a video with every single DataWax product of how to use it. So watch the website. There will be a really good video, and we will get a video to you. So yes, there is a video, but it's not ready yet.
Okay. Watch this space, Harriet.
Might be on DataWax.com. It's on DataWax.com, apparently. I've just been told. So check DataWax.
Oh, it's already there, is it?
Yeah, it's up. Apparently.
Oh, it's there. There you go. Don't go now. Stay watching the stream. Go after the stream. Don't go now.
Yeah.
Okay. We need the watchers. Mark is asking, how often should skis be serviced, i.e. own skis? And are rental skis serviced weekly? Ooh.
Most rental skis are serviced weekly, but a lot of the time, you think about big service centers, they'll give them a quick a run across to get the edges done, and they'll give them a quick hot brush wax or a liquid wax, which is great, and it means that you'll get a nice finish, and when you pick them up, they'll look brilliant. But like I talked about earlier, they won't necessarily have that base penetration, so that wax may not last too long. So therefore, wax skis, rental skis are serviced. Different rental centers obviously service differently, but generally it's a bit of a quick service, get them ready for the next week. And with your own skis, as often as they need. So wax your skis when they need serviced, and just keep an eye on your kit. When they need service, give them a bit of love.
Yep. There you go, Mark. Thanks for your question. Carl is saying thank you for his answers. Becky, we've seen, has got the sharpener for the edge tool for the scraper. Dave, how do you melt on a clear PTEX candle without it going all sooty? Oh,
okay. So two different PTEXs. You either get a black one or a clear one. The clear one's definitely harder, and if you burn it, if it's not burning hot enough, then it'll burn with carbon and you'll get a bit of soot. So there's two tricks. First of all, don't light it off a disposable lighter. If you can buy one of those little windproof lighters that look like a little mini blowtorch, they burn hotter. So that'll set it up and you'll get a kind of nice heat. That'll make it easier. And also don't drip too high. So hold the candle closer to the base rather than dripping it from miles up. And that way it doesn't catch the oxygen and it'll hopefully be a little cleaner as a repair. Does that answer that one?
I've just spotted Dave's picture. Is that you upside down, Dave? Are you inverted in that picture? If so, that's very impressive, mate. But yeah, there's your answer to your PTEX question. Now we got a couple of follow-ups on the old the dry slope wax. It's always funny when you talk about the old days on dry slopes. Furniture polish.
Yeah.
There's Tim, and then Colin is saying the Fairy Liquid and Pledge was good, but Back to Black was faster.
Yeah, going for cleaner. That was a common one. Yeah.
I think that was it's probably because it was silicon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bex, we use plastic slope. Okay, so Bex is saying she combines it. She uses plastic slope wax and a cheap polish. Yeah. When we were kids, and you probably did this as well, Mike, you and your brother, we experimented with all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, my brother was a proper chemist, and he used to come down to race training with things he'd shoved in a plastic bottle, and it was that he'd spent ages spraying Pledge and a bit of water and some Fairy Liquid and whatever else he'd found in the garage. So yeah, there was a bit of experimentation. Never worked.
Toby saying thank you. Yeah, sometimes most of the time they didn't. Toby saying thank you. Kevin saying thank you. We got another question here now from Andrew. Is based boost a good idea or not? I use it occasionally as well as wax, but have heard of people using it instead of wax. I don't even know what that is. What is that?
So it's like a liquid wax. The one he's mentioned there is Zardoz, and it's called the Pocket Puck, and it's a little quick fluoro liquid that you can rub up and down the base. It's just another instant wax solution. So like we talked about fast wipes from us, that's the equivalent. So it's not a bad idea. It's just, use it when you need it, and yeah, it's a great product.
Cool. There you go, Andrew. Colin has got another one for us. Colin Martin, our boot fitter from Solutions for Feet and Bicester, who's been on the show twice asking questions this week. What are your thoughts on this new nano treatment that claims that you never need to wax skis again? Yes, we've seen this on the Facebook Ski Club. Yeah. What's that about then?
The short answer is I don't know. I've experimented it. We've had a little play with it. We've had one of our snow sports engineer have a look at it. The problem with a sentence like "you never need to wax your skis again" and a new product is, how long does it really last? The short answer is I don't know. But at the same time, I think for our industry and our trade, most people are still going to wax their skis. So I'm not worried about it yet. So I don't feel it's going to put DataWax out of business. I think most people are still going to wax their skis the classic way. If the nano treatments work and they're long lasting and as good as these guys claim, then yeah, good on them. But I haven't experimented with it. I can't really comment, to be honest.
I would think it must be a similar scenario to like some of the car coatings, like Diamond Bright and Zymol, that say they last for like 7 years. You put it on your car and it's there for 7 years. Well, it isn't. It could be if you then treat your car in certain ways with certain other products to maintain the Zymol, but Zymol alone will not stay there for 7 years. So it could be a similar scenario, maybe. Who knows?
I think with like what we've talked about tonight with ski waxing is there's so many different conditions. Skiing has so many variables that there are certain conditions that waxes last longer or last less time. So it might be that these waxes work, under certain conditions, they do last forever. But I personally, for me, if I use Universal, I definitely feel that the ski's not performing as well all the time because of the conditions change. So that's why I like the ability to have my wax box open and pick the wax based on what I'm up to and what conditions there are.
Cool, good stuff. I'm just seeing we've got so many more questions coming in. We normally stop at around about 50 to 60 minutes, folks, but we will try and get through the rest of these questions. I think we should be able to do it in time. However, though, Harriet, I said don't go to the website yet. I said watch the stream, but never mind. Michael Newman is asking, how Yeah, he says, hey, Michael, how much difference does different snow temperature wax have on your skiing?
It's if you get it right, then the performance is amazing. If you get it wrong, you'll know about it. The waxes are designed for the correct temperatures, so they are specific and they are designed for those conditions. But the problem is, the problem with the science is it's based off of snow temperature, not air temperature, which is harder to measure. So if you're ever in doubt, wax colder and wax with universal. But if you can wax with the relevant condition, then I would say go for that.
Yes, that's me. Thank God for an airbag. Okay, he was upside down in that picture. There you go, Michael. Hopefully that's answered your question. Colin has just come back and said 100% agrees that the nano is not going to take away from classic waxing. Factory finish regular. Okay, cool. What's this one from Dave? Oh, he's upside down again. I've heard talk is applying.
So applying the things like Zardoz above or below the wax. Generally, you would use that after your wax. So you wouldn't want to use that as before your wax. You would use it after. So once you've waxed, scraped, brushed, that would be your little finishing layer. So that's when that would go right as the last stage.
Okay, finishing off. There you go, Dave. Tim's back with another question. Should we be detuning skis to some extent? I've always detuned a bit at the tip and the tail. So I think he's talking about dulling the tip and the tail, which I think we used to do, but do we still do it?
Right. So detuning is literally where you deliberately blunten a certain percentage of the tip and the tail of the ski. Generally, it was done. Originally it was for long old school straight skis. When it was harder to pivot the ski, you obviously didn't want the tip of the tail to catch. So therefore, you would want to detune them to make them easier to turn. Nowadays, detuning is less common. If you're going to detune, you don't need to detune very much. It would just be the first 5 or 6 centimeters. You really don't need to do very much. The downside to detuning is you then have basically meant that whatever area you've detuned, that edge can't grip. So you're not going to go into the turn with as much performance, and you're not going to get as much from the ski. So I personally don't detune my skis, and I don't detune the skis that I service. But there is definitely a time and a place for it. And if it makes you feel better, or you feel your skis are catchy, that's a really easy way to make your skis just a little bit easier for you.
There you go, Tim. There's your answer. Good stuff. Harriet's back. She hasn't gone. I've bookmarked the page. I'm still here listening. Brilliant. Cool. Thank you, Harriet. Michael is saying thank you. And Richard, you've mentioned angles of edges on skis. Is that the same for a snowboard?
Yes, everything's the same for snowboarding. Ski and snowboard servicing is exactly the same. The only thing that's a bit more difficult is that you've got so much more base on a snowboard. So normally on a ski, you would just pass the iron tip to tail and kind of cover the area. But with a snowboard, obviously, you've got to do it in rows to kind of cover the whole base and therefore scraping. So with skis, you do more edges and less base. On a snowboard, you do more base and less edges. But the theory is exactly the same.
Again, Richard, if you go on to Snow Camps Europe, snowcampseu.com, in the blog, base bevel angles, we've got suggested angles for snowboards as well. But as Mike says, they are pretty much the same as the other. Thanks, Richard. Tim's back again. Which is more important, wax temperature or base structure? Or do they work hand in hand?
They work hand in hand. That is a really good question. They work hand in hand. Base structure is a whole other tangent that we could talk about forever, really. Base structure, it basically depends on the shape and the depth, and it basically means that the water flows better from tip to tail. protecting your base structure, make sure you've got good structure is really important, but they definitely work hand in hand. So there's not one that's more important than the other, but I don't really want to open the massive can of worms that is base structures.
Yeah, I know Tim. I trained with Tim several years ago, and it's funny because the last day of our season before we drove back to the UK, he waxed about 12 pair of skis for the summer in our garden here in Kaprun. And yeah, good question, Tim. Steve is asking, how do you know the snow temperature to choose your wax? Usually a forecast will be air temperature. So a weather forecast will be air temperature. Come on. Thermometer.
It's snow thermometers. We have an article on our website about it, but it's pretty technical is the short answer, and it can change very quickly. So you would be looking for the average on a World Cup pitch, like a World Cup race. Let's just say the American team, they would set thermometers in the snow at the beginning of their arrival when they first arrived, and then they would monitor those temperatures kind of the entire length of the event. So not just the race, the 2 days warm up beforehand, the overnight, it's a whole level of geek. But we've got an article on the website about it. If you look up snow temperatures, then you can have a start of it, but you could probably do a degree in air temperatures and snow temperatures. So that's a tricky one.
Funny thing is, Steve and Mike, yesterday we were doing some prototype testing of ski boots, and first lift, out came a thermometer, and all of our boots got scanned for the temperature of the plastic, which I was like, what the hell are we doing? We have made a vlog about that, which will be posted in the coming days. So yeah, thermometers in the snow, Steve. Kevin, hi again. Hello, Kevin. At what point can you tell when your edges cannot be edged anymore?
When they look like tinfoil. When it looks like there is a very small layer of silver running down the black plastic of the edge. All edges come out the factories, and they're designed to be serviced. But the more you service, the more obviously comes off. If you ever get a set of hand-me-down old ski race skis, especially dry slope skis, you'll notice that there's not much edge left. So when the edge starts running out, it'll snap, and therefore you're not standing on anything. You're basically just standing on the plastic, and that doesn't really help. So just keep an eye on the thickness of your edge.
There you go. Quick one from Carl. Is it best to wax skis in the summer to get a good heat on them instead of at room temperature?
Room temperature is fine. Yeah, room temperature is fine. If you can get a little bit of extra heat in them, then the wax might penetrate a little bit more, so you might get a little bit more sink into the base. So it's a nice idea. If you can leave them in the sun for half an hour once you finish servicing them, because you're doing it on a sunny day in the garden, great. But room temperature is fine, absolutely fine. You don't need to buy yourself a sauna just so you can start servicing skis.
I'm now waiting for somebody to come back and say, how do I tell what temperature my ski base is? Nigel, hello Nigel. Nigel's watching on YouTube. Brilliant. Our first YouTube question. Fantastic. Hello Nigel on YouTube. Does it matter if you scrape off the wax from the tip to the tail or vice versa? Good question.
It doesn't really matter in a sort of science sense, but it's kind of practice that everyone goes tip to tail with everything. So if you can, go tip to tail as best you can, but scraping not so much. But if you're using brushes or structuring your bases, you definitely need to do that tip to tail. So generally tail, but it's not actually life or death.
Okay, good stuff. That was Nigel. There you go, Nigel. Kirsty is telling us that there is a really good article on the DataWax website. So datawax.com/waxes1/news-blog/snow temperatures. Don't go there now, go there later. Okay. Oh, Tim's back. Tim's back with another question. He likes his ski servicing, does Tim? Where's your question gone, Tim? Oh, here it is, up here. Here we go. That came up on my timeline the other day. Me, a beer, an iron, and a whole lot of skis. I should also say I have trained and worked as a ski tech, and I've played with making my own wax. So sorry for the technical questions.
Not at all. No, they're good questions. I'm very impressed. Just keep me on my toes, that's for sure.
Yeah. And his reference to the timeline is the photo of him waxing the skis in the garden, which would have been, I think it was about the 2nd of May, Tim, before we drove back via Belgium. Steve has said, thanks, Mike. Not that much of a geek, so I'll stick to universal wax. Best way, Steve. Carl is one, nice one, guys. Oh, Alistair. Read Timothy above. The best difference I ever experienced with skis was really disappointing performance after machine service. The excellent ski tech in LMZ, then refinished by hand, and the difference was extraordinary. As I recall, it was about brushing texture into a good layer of wax over a suit. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes when the skis go across the grinder, if you think about that, it takes out all the old wax, so therefore the base would be slower. But also, if the structure was a little deeper, then you'd really feel the difference. So just by having them hand serviced afterwards, that would give them a really good wax, and it would just give that structure kind of the love that it needed to get them back up to standard. So it happens every so often. It's just if it's not what you're used to, then you'll really feel the difference. So that's why, a lot of people are quite protective and they only service their own kit. That's one of the reasons, because they don't trust other people with their gear. So
yeah, for sure. Cool. Thanks, Alistair. Thanks for your question. Kevin is saying, very helpful info tonight. Thanks. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for watching. And that is actually, we've got to the, oh no.
Last one.
How far in advance of a ski trip would you service your skis? And once done, do you leave them out for a while or bag them up straight away so they are ready to take?
You don't need to wax them any sort of time in advance. It's just as and when you've got 10 minutes to sit in the garage and get it done. So service them when you can, and just bag them up. It doesn't really matter when you service them or when you bag them. It's just kind of what's easy for you and how it fits into your life, when you can sneak to the garage to do some servicing.
Good stuff. Cool. Right. Last question.
Okay.
After waxing your skis, how long do you leave them before scraping?
Okay. So the wax that matters is the wax that sinks into the base. So you do the dripping thing we talked about earlier, and then you wax it on so you get a nice flat layer. You want to leave it until the wax cools. So I would say at least 20 minutes, a little bit longer if you can. But yeah, generally at least 20 minutes up to about an hour. Or if you leave it till the next morning, after about an hour, it doesn't make any difference. So 20 minutes to an hour is the magic.
There you go, Andrew. Okay, Becky is saying thank you. She's also sent us a kiss. That's nice. Colin is saying good one, guys. And Elaine, great info. Thanks. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Mike, for all of the answers. I've learned a few things there. We've had a bit of fun with it.
We didn't get to any of the questions that we prepared at all.
Well, no, which is a good thing. But I think we still covered off nearly all them topics. Don't forget, folks, DataWax.com. Go and have a little look at what the guys have got. If we get any more questions coming in, we will try and get them answered over the coming days. But the live stream will now be saved on Facebook and on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and dip in and out of it as and when you wish. As we said at the beginning, please share this valuable information with all of your skiing friends and family. And yeah, we will see you next week, where I can already tell you we are going to be speaking to Christoph from Fischer, who is the Alpine Boot product manager. Okay, and we are going to be talking about how you take the idea for a ski boot through design concept, prototyping, and then the development of the boot before it hits the shop. So it's probably going to be quite different to what we've done with the boot fitters, because we're not talking necessarily about how we make boots fit, but we will be talking about different types of plastic, about the different lasts, about the different flexes, how they get the stiffness into the plastic, and loads of stuff that I probably won't actually understand. But hopefully in the next week, you can all think up some questions to ask Christoph next week. And for sure, we'll be putting up a promotional video on Monday or Tuesday. So from myself, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. Mike, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
If you just stay there, Mike, I'm going to end the broadcast and we will see you all again over the coming days on the Facebook page. Bye for now, everybody. Thanks for watching.